What's up, everyone? It is time for a review of my most anticipated movie of 2023, Scream 6. Given it's my most anticipated, this probably goes without saying, but I always do like to point out when I am a super fan of something that I'm reviewing, just so you know exactly where I'm coming from, and that is indeed where I'm coming from with this one. I love Scream. It's my favorite film franchise of all time, and that being said, it's hard to put into words how much it means to me to be able to tell you that we have yet another excellent new addition to this franchise. The new movie takes place soon after the events of Scream 5. Tara, Chad, and Mindy move to New York City for college, and Sam goes along with them, primarily to make sure her sister stays safe. While there, of course, a new Ghostface emerges, and the core four need to navigate the big city to evade Ghostface while also trying to figure out the killer's identity. Before I start digging into things here, do know you are currently watching a non-spoiler review of Scream 6. This will have no spoilers. You are totally safe here, and then when the movie comes out and when you're ready, I will have another completely separate video, a spoiler review for you to enjoy on the channel. Broadly now, to start here, I love how different this movie feels. Scream 5 did certainly push the franchise forward, but it was extremely rooted specifically in the original film in a number of respects, like location, characters, tone, and then some. Some of those things still hold, obviously, but this movie feels very different to me for a number of reasons. An obvious one being the new setting. Yes, we did get a Scream movie that was set in Hollywood, but setting a movie in a big city like New York is just a totally different playing field to be working with. The location change alone changes the feel, the rules, and also what Ghostface is capable of. And in addition to being a very, very big Scream fan, I'm also a New Yorker, and I was just so happy with how the filmmakers here brought together two things that I love dearly. Another element that I think makes Scream 6 quite different from all other Scream films is what they're doing with Melissa Barrera's character, Sam Carpenter. And listen, I know that didn't quite work for some in Scream 5, and I get it. It's not easy to add a new character to a long-running series, and then also present her as being the daughter of one of the original killers, and have her see visions of him. It did work for me in Scream 5, but I will acknowledge it is a big swing that could be jarring for some, and I totally get it. I tee that up so heavily here because I really want to emphasize, if not overemphasize, how damn good Melissa Barrera is in this movie. And her performance in Scream 6 cannot be as strong unless she delivered a solid foundation for Sam in Scream 5. That initial introduction and the following build in Scream 5 should very much leave you in a place where you are unsure of her character, and I think that's something that serves this particular movie extremely well. Somehow, Barrera just beautifully balances conveying how deeply Sam loves her sister and her friends and how important it is to her to keep them safe, but while also letting this bloodlust and just this look she gets in her eyes creep in that winds up making you wonder, could the scale tip? Could she just lose control and go too far with this? And watching her navigate that was one of my absolute favorite parts of this movie. Another favorite part of Scream 6, the core four. It is what Chad dubs the Scream 5 survivors. It is cheesy, it is adorable, and they very much earn it. I loved all four of those characters at the end of Scream 5, but the connection to them here as they turn themselves into a little family is just on a different level. The chemistry between those four actors is utterly infectious. You genuinely enjoy spending time with them. Them having those relationships helps the characters grow as individuals, and maybe most importantly of all, it turns them all into characters that you just so desperately want to see survive. And that right there brings me to my next point. The attack and kill scenes in Scream 6 are excellent. Again, for a number of reasons that I will get to in a moment, but my absolute favorite thing about them is the emotional investment. And yes, there's always been characters in this franchise that I do not want to see die, but I gotta say, I think that quality is especially strong here. And this isn't a spoiler because this particular set piece was featured quite heavily in the marketing material, but I have to say that Gale's encounter with Ghostface is just downright phenomenal. Actually, that might now be one of my absolute favorite scenes of the entire franchise. To briefly tease some of the other standout attacks and kill scenes in Scream 6, the opening is a refreshing and very unique winner in my book. The ladder scene from the trailer plays extremely well, so does the subway scene and also the bodega set piece, and trust me when I tell you here that the third act bloodbath in this movie does not disappoint. It is packed to the brim with real vicious fight choreography, but also with some stellar and highly effective character moments. And this right here, I will not spoil it, of course, but I do have to give a whole lot of credit to the performance work being done during the killer reveal and also what happens after it. It's just some very, very strong stuff that I really can't wait to celebrate even more when I do that spoiler review. Back to the characters here and some of the other performances briefly. Yet again, Jenna Ortega is delivering just some next level work in this movie. This is a little bit of a hard thing to describe, but when she's delivering lines that demand maximum emotion, whether it's something that's happening in a moment of fear or maybe she's having an argument with Sam, her delivery just packs the power to truly rock you to your core. And the authenticity of her disagreements with Sam could really not be stronger. And then also, the side-by-side growth there. Watching the two of them become two completely different people while seeing eye to eye just enough serves them as individuals and the movie overall here so well. Yet again, Jasmin Savoy Brown handles that Randy-like dialogue brilliantly. She gets a couple of lines in this movie, whether they're about, conveying the rules or just quippy remarks that easily could have fallen very flat in less capable hands, but timing, tone, it is just so on point with her, and it's always like that. And I also absolutely loved the little moments of vulnerability that she adds to that performance. Just because Mindy is, the expert and seems to get a thrill out of investigating these situations doesn't mean that she's not terrified, and that comes through so strongly and effectively in this movie. And then there's Mason Gooding. Again, Chad was great in Scream 5, but I did not expect him to become this wildly charming beating heart of the core four like he does in this movie. He does exactly what he needs to do in Scream 5, and I enjoyed that performance quite a bit, but this right here is some extra special work. It's extra special within the Scream franchise and also overall, just true sky-high screen presence and just this infectious warmth that leaps off the screen. I adored him in this film. Now for Kirby's return, I thought it played very, very well. Hayden Panettiere does a stellar job holding tight to certain defining qualities of Kirby's from Scream 4, but also well emphasizing the fact that the events of that film have changed her and the path that she was on quite drastically. As for Gale's involvement in the movie beyond that one set piece I already highlighted, I thought she was very well woven into this narrative. There are a few decisions I know she must make between Scream 5 and Scream 6 that, maybe I would have liked to have known more about, but I think that comes from a place of me just being an obsessed fan who wants to know every single detail about these characters, but the information the movie does give us is really all it needed. And also, because I really can't help myself with this, one extra shout out to Courteney Cox for that set piece I already brought up. I still can't get over how good that whole sequence is and how damn good she is in it. As for our newcomers here, they're all pitch perfect. I truly cannot imagine a better actor for the role of Detective Bailey than Dermot Mulroney. This movie is a great follow-up to Avatar: The Way of Water for Jack Champion. The pairing of the two just really shows off how wide his range is. Devyn Nekoda is a major standout via very natural screen presence and also A+ chemistry with Jasmin Savoy Brown. I've been a big fan of Liana Liberatos for a good while now, and sure enough, she does not disappoint here. Tony Revolori absolutely nails his role. I dug what Josh Segarra's character brings out in Sam. Samara Weaving is excellent as always. There's just these little subtleties, whether it's facial expressions or the tone that she uses, that they just feel so uniquely her, they're so expressive, and they also heavily contribute to making her character in the movie feel like a real person. Really, this is just another huge win across the board for the Scream casting team. I could go on and on and on about this movie, and I probably will in the future in many more videos, but I'm going to wind down this non-spoiler review with a score. I am giving Scream 6 4.5 Deweys out of 5 on the Dewey Decimovie scale. I feel it happening again. I walked out of Scream 2022 trying really hard not to get too far ahead of myself. It was only January at the time, but thinking this is probably going to be one of my favorite movies of the year. Sure enough, it was. It was my number 2 of 2022, and now I feel it again. I know it's only March, but I would truly be shocked if Scream 6 didn't wind up in my top 10 of 2023. This is what the continuation of a franchise should look like. Radio Silence and the rest of the Scream 6 team, they just get it. They very much understand this franchise and they respect what makes it special, but they also recognize the fact that the only way they could continue this series is by evolving it along the way and making sure to always surprise viewers. And the big swings they take here doing that work. They work because James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick's script is whip smart and also puts a heavy emphasis on the importance of character connection. You can have great action/scares, set pieces, funny one-liners, clever Easter eggs, you name it, but it's the emotional backbone that really makes all of that material soar. Clearly, I think the cast here is phenomenal. They all just really understand their roles and the type of movie they're making, and then Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette, they just know how to do everything, and I think that is really important to making a Scream movie. They can craft exhilarating kill and attack scenes, they have a very firm handle on comedic timing and tone, and then also they know the importance of making sure that every ounce of this film has a degree of emotion and heart at its core. Oh my, I am just so incredibly grateful that we've got a team of creators working on these new Scream films that really seem to love and respect this series as much as I do, and also have brilliant ideas for continuing the franchise in a way that keeps the core of the series intact while successfully finding new, smart, and very well-earned ways of keeping everything fresh and meaningful moving forward. I adore this movie. I'm very, very curious to know what you all think about Scream 6 as well. So when you do see the movie in theaters this weekend, make sure to come back here, hit the comments section, and tell me your thoughts below. To everybody out there watching this, thank you so much for checking out this non-spoiler Scream 6 review, spoiler review, and probably more videos on this movie coming your way very, very soon.